This steak is pure gluten, almost entirely protein, and it's incredibly delicious. Super tender and has the consistency just like steak. You wouldn't know. Before I get the comments that it's bread, it's not. 100 grams of gluten meat is 370 calories, 1.9 grams of fat, 0 cholesterol, 14 grams of carbs, and get this, 75 grams of protein. It's also loaded with 28% daily value of iron, 6% magnesium, and 14% calcium. Compare that to 100 grams of steak, 270 calories, 19 grams of fat, 78 milligrams of cholesterol. No, there isn't any carbs in it, but there's only 25 grams of protein. You would have to eat 3 times the amount of steak to equal the protein. But isn't gluten bad for you? No! Less than 6% of the population in the United States is gluten sensitive and less than 1% is allergic. If you are gluten sensitive, gluten intolerant, or allergic, do not eat this. You will know. It's not going to be good for you specifically. Now back to the gluten. You can use gluten meat, aka seitan, anywhere you would traditionally use beef, pork, or chicken and end up with incredible results. Today I'm making a steak and cheese sandwich. I'm going to show you how to make it from scratch, starting with a ball of dough, but first let me show you the incredibly easy way, straight from a can. This is braised gluten meat. You can find this online or just about at any Asian grocery market, and it's really good. The consistency is similar to the beef that you would get at a Chinese restaurant. Super soft, super tender, and it works perfect for a steak and cheese sandwich. So first things first, I'm just gonna prep some veg. For this, we're gonna be using the steak sandwich trio: mushrooms, onions, and green peppers. First, I'm going to wash my mushrooms because, like I've been saying, anybody that says not to is wrong. Sorry, but I'm over this argument. Once washed, I'm just going to slice the shrooms, chop my onions and green peppers, and we're gonna need some high quality olive oil in this because I think that's gonna make a difference in the end for the sandwich. So we're just going to heat up a pan over a medium-high heat, toss in our shrooms, add a bit of salt, cook them up, toss in the rest of the veggies, heat that all the way through with a little bit of pepper. Now toss in your braised gluten. Now this is already loaded with flavor, but I just wanted to add a bit more, so I'm going to be using my favorite sauce, my sauce, not steak sauce. This stuff is really good. This is going to bring up those glutamate and savory flavors, and we're just going to cook this until it's heated through. It only needs a few minutes. So since the sandwich is almost done, we're just going to slice up the bun, add some vegan mayo, and now for the cheese of the steak and cheese sandwich. There are a lot of good vegan cheeses now, so just use your favorite. It's wild how much vegan cheese has changed over the last 10 years, but wow, some of these are really good. This vegan Baby Bell cheese works perfect for this sandwich. I know this is like a snack cheese, but you can shred this up and you can see it melts incredibly. Now we're just going to toss this into the bun, and you can see this is an incredible steak and cheese sandwich. Now just like any steak and cheese, we're going to top it off with some incredibly good olive oil, toss some really high quality potato chips next to this that was provided by today's sponsor, Graza.
I switched olive oils and you're never gonna get me to go back. Graza is unbelievably delicious, flavorful, top-notch olive oil at an affordable, everyday price. It's always fresh, never blended, and it's really good. Like, really good. You will notice the difference. Graza is made from a one-of-a-kind olive called Picuel from Jaén, Spain. And did I mention how good this is? It's really good. Graza can change an entire meal with a squeeze. And speaking of that, Graza comes in these incredibly easy squeeze bottles, which makes sizzling, drizzling, and everything in between a heck of a lot easier. I mean, it's really nice. I don't get why we haven't been doing this all along. It just makes sense. Now, I recently just started using Graza, and I'll tell you, it has been a huge change in the flavor, the way I cook, and the way that I finish my food. The drizzle, which is like the finishing olive oil, is fresh, clean, bright. It tastes pure, and it's like perfectly aromatic. This is my favorite, and the favorite of a lot of people. You gotta read the reviews. So gang, click the link in the description to pick up your Graza olive oil today. And did I see some Graza chips earlier? That's what I used on my sandwich. Those are phenomenal. So you gotta check those out. Graza, thanks for sponsoring today's video and for opening my eyes to incredibly good olive oil.
Get $5 off using code Saucestache at checkout over at graza.co/Saucestache or by clicking the link in the description below. Okay, we're back. So we made the sandwich. How does it taste?
That is insane. That is insane. That is so good. Really, I think if you were to give this to a meat eater, they might prefer this even more. It's so tasty. But the one thing about canned seitan, like braised seitan especially, it's easy, it's ready to serve, but it's not really like super dense and chewy like you would get out of like a normal like steak and cheese sandwich. And you might not be able to find that depending on where you live. I have a lot of Asian markets around me and they all sell that. If you don't have an Asian market around you, so you can make your own. And it's really easy. So I'm gonna show you how to turn a ball of dough into pure gluten, almost entirely protein, and it's gonna be really quick.
Okay, first we need to make a large ball of dough. I'm gonna start with 5 cups of flour, a large pinch of salt, and starting with about 2 cups of water. I'm gonna use a large chopstick to kind of get this mixed in at first, but you can use whatever you like. Once it's together in the bowl, I'm just gonna dump it onto the cutting board and knead it until it forms a nice ball. It only takes just a minute or two. We're not doing a whole lot of heavy kneading here. Once we have our ball, we don't need to knead anymore. I'm just gonna toss this into a bowl, throw the lid on, and let it rest for about an hour. This will allow the gluten to form on its own. After the hour, we just need to wash our dough. Essentially what we were doing is washing away the starches and the fibers to be left with almost pure gluten. This is what makes it very different from bread, cake, or any other bread thing that I'm gonna get comments about. To wash your dough, I'm just going to put the ball of dough into a sink with a large bowl, fill it with water, and start kneading and working the dough until the water starts to run kind of milky clear. You can see the gluten strands forming, and it's getting even more weird looking by the time it's done. Now, I weighed this before and after so you could see how much starches and fibers were washed away. This weighed 1,490 grams before it was washed, and now only 528 grams. That's almost pure protein. At this point, I'm going to toss this into a food processor, and we're going to mix in some of the meaty flavors that I want. I'm going to start with a pinch of olive oil, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon beetroot powder, a teaspoon blackstrap molasses, and a teaspoon Marmite. Now I'm just going to pulse this until it's combined. Now at this point, I want 2 steaks just so it fits in my steamer. We're going to divide this into 2, and I'm going to toss it onto some parchment paper and fold it into envelopes. Then I'm just going to toss these into the steamer, cover it up, and let it steam for about an hour. Now once they are done being steamed, they are mostly cooked through. You can eat this, but this would be like your raw steak at this point. So I'm going to pull them out of their parchment paper envelopes, season them with some garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and then slice them into almost like fajita-like steak slices. Now, while I was steaming, I cooked up some more mushrooms, onions, and peppers, and then I set those aside. Now, in that same pan, I'm going to add a bit more olive oil to the hot pan and toss in our gluten steaks. I just want to cook this for a bit, firm it up, and then I'm going to add in the mushrooms and peppers back into the pan and finish it all off. Now we need to get our bun ready again with some vegan mayo, and this time I'm tossing the nut steak sauce right in the bun, and now we're adding our steak. We're gonna add a drizzle of olive oil. I'm gonna use the same vegan cheese, but this time I'm gonna shred it on the top and then melt it right over with a kitchen torch, and this looks amazing. I mean, I think this looks incredible, but let's see what Monica has to say.
Did you have a lot of steak and cheeses?
I did.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Started in my college days, but I did back then.
Okay. Well, I want you to see what you think about this.
Okay.
Cheers.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is just like what I remember.
Yeah. Like that is really good.
Yeah.
Really
Very
good.
like meaty, a little chewy, like a really nice texture, savory. I wouldn't know the difference.
I know we're testing like the gluten, but that Baby Bell cheese, nothing melts like that.
I love using Baby Bell cheese as like a cheese topper or shredded or something like that, or melted. Like, it's so good. I'm so glad they came out with that.
Wow. I mean, this is super good. Could you give me some more of the drizzle? Did you try the graza? There's a little bit on the sandwich, but I don't know if you want to put it on there or not. It's so good.
Yeah, I do like it with the drizzle. That makes a difference.
Can you beyond just like steak taste? I mean, like, what do you think? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the melted cheese on it. I think everything that you did on it together goes really well.
Yeah.
So it kind of like melts in my mouth a little bit. And yeah, it's savory. It's not too salty or not, but it does have a lot of flavor, but it's not like overwhelmingly salty or anything.
Yeah.
It's just, let me see. Let me take another bite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think about just the meat?
Let me see. Yeah, I mean, it tastes like steak. It has like a perfectly like steak with a little bit of fat texture.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a little soft.
But no, it's like perfect. Like it has a little bit of that, all the things you would expect to get in a bite of steak.
It's almost like that stir fry steak, that like soft, like Chinese, like stir fry steak.
And
it's kind of
then,
that consistency.
And then it's just got a really good flavor. It's like not too crazy or seasoned. It's almost like it's perfect and ready to absorb any flavor you put on it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like
a good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good. It goes with everything.
It really does. Well, there it is. Who needs steak when you have gluten? I mean, really.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny, but I mean, it's true.
Funny but true.
Well, it's lunch.
Okay.